Hey everybody, welcome back to the Dirty Pat Walsh channel on YouTube with me, your host, Dirty Pat Walsh. How y'all doing? Hope you're good. Sunday, it's snowing here. It's our first official snowfall day, and it's really piling up. We're gonna have a foot of snow by the time it's said and done tomorrow. But whatever. So last night, my roommate and her girlfriend did magic mushrooms for the first time. I kind of guided them through it. So, and that was kind of fun. It was great to hear the house full of laughter last night. That's all I can say. It was fantastic. But I didn't take any mushrooms because I can't do that stuff anymore. The very last time I took mushrooms, I was in Amsterdam, and I was on tour with my wife at the time, and New Year's Eve I'd played the Soundgarden in Amsterdam. Worst gig ever. Totally fun, but I shouldn't say it was the worst gig ever. I got paid well for it, so. But I was bringing people down, man. So that's the way it is. But it's hard to have the blues when the world's exploding in color and joy all around you. But the New Year's Day, our hosts and dear friends, Matthias and Jenny. Matthias is kind of Matthias Calm. He's kind of, there's a band called The Burning Hell that kind of comes out of Peterborough. And The Burning Hell is basically, they're kind of like The Fall. It's Matthias and whoever he chooses to have with him at the time. So, he's pretty great. But yeah, so I can't remember who. I think it was Matthias and Mithra thought it was a good idea. Mithra probably came up with the idea in the first place. But taking mushrooms on New Year's Day and just chilling out and watching movies. And sounded good to me, you know. Nothing else to do on New Year's Day. And, you know. So, it was my job to go get the mushrooms. Now, mushrooms are legal in Amsterdam. They even have little stores that sell them called, at the time, now this was granted 2005, I guess. The stores were called Smart Shop. They had a little orange sign, a little orange and white sign. Said Smart Shop. And so I went in, and no shit, it was like a magic mushroom dispensary, you know. And so I knew what I wanted because I've done mushrooms enough. I know what I'm doing. And you know, between the four of us, we said, well, let's just get like a couple grams and make some tea. You know, it won't be anything too intense. So I told the guy I'd just like two grams of dried whatever it said on the thing, mushrooms. They were just mushrooms, you know, dried mushrooms. And he flipped on me. He was like, "No, I'm not selling you that. what you want is 5 grams of fresh mushrooms. And he pulls out this little box of dirt with like a bunch of mushrooms growing in it. And they're fresh. I've never seen fresh magic mushrooms before. I couldn't believe it. But I was like, no, I only had enough money for 2 grams of mushrooms, And I was like, no, this is what I know what I'm doing. And he's like, you're going to come back here in half an hour complaining how you're not high. And no, I'm not selling them to you. This is what you're getting. And I'm like, I had to argue with him about it. And finally I got what I wanted, much to his disdain. He sold me two grams of dried mushrooms. So that was kind of weird. But anyhow, so yeah, I got the product, and so New Year's Day comes around. The gig I played was like there was like Matthias, Mithra, Jenny, and like 4 other people who were probably friends of Matthias. It's kind of like a gig here in Peterborough, except that the world was exploding with joy and color. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Amsterdam on New Year's Eve, but aside, completely different thing. But aside from my children being born, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life is the fireworks display in Amsterdam. Yeah. So anyhow, so we make this tea. We make a tea out of the mushrooms, and we got in a couple of movies. The one I remember, they were both like rock and roll movies, The one I remember, we might have only gotten this one. I can't remember. What the other movie was, but we watched Velvet Goldmine. If you've ever seen that, it's kind of like a not authorized biography of Iggy Pop and David Bowie when they were hanging out. And they changed the names, they changed like all that, but it's definitely David Bowie and Iggy Pop who they're talking about. It's a great movie. It's not legit at all, I'm sure some of the stories in it are true or have bits of truth in them, but it's really just a movie using Iggy Pop and David Bowie as inspiration for the characters, I guess. But anyhow, so we were watching this, and I had 1 cup of mushroom tea. So basically, if we all had like 1.5 cups out of this teapot, we each would have had a half a gram of mushrooms, all right? So I basically finished my tea, and man, I got so blitzkrieg high off these mushrooms. I have never been so, I've taken tons of stuff. I've eaten a mile of mushrooms, I've taken dozens of acid tabs and capsules and little microdots, and I've done my time with the psychedelics, the only time I can, it was definitely the highest I'd ever been off of a psychedelic. The only one that can compare is the time I went to Ontario Place with my high school band when I was 14 and took California Orange Sunshine. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I was like sitting there just watching this movie, Yet my whole life was like crashing before my eyes, you know, all kinds of scenarios and situations. And, you know, I felt like I was going to die, and I felt like I was not going to die. And I've, you know, and I'm all just sitting there nice and calm, you know, but my brain was like on a roller coaster of mayhem, you know. Not all bad. Some of it was bad, but you know, I'm a very anxious person. I suffer pretty badly from social anxiety and stuff like that. I'm pretty heavily medicated for that stuff, but I wasn't at this time. And good Lord, the the anxiety that was born within me in that gram of mushrooms just knocked my dick in the dirt. You know, it was crazy. So I told myself, that's it. That was the experience. You know, that was pretty much anything. You know, it was a great experience. I don't regret it at all. It was wonderful. Um, but anything, you know, if I was to take mushrooms now, recreationally or whatever, it would taint that experience. I feel in my brain. So no more for me. But I'm glad they had fun last night for sure. Yeah, I was just dipping Scotch snuff and smoking roaches. So I've been dipping this checkerberry like crazy, man. It's this wintergreen dry snuff. It's the one. It's the can I'm killing. I got I got a little bit left. It's good, man. If you never dipped dry, you know, I've really become over the last week. I've been really dipping nothing but dry stuff, and I've become quite interested in it in that time. It's a good way to go. But yeah, a lot of them are they're really good. But yeah, I've been dipping this checkerberry because it's wintergreen. I'm craving that wintergreen burn. But I know there's gonna be some dip coming down the sleigh, the toboggan hill sometime soon. Um, Anyhow, I hope you're all good and well. Thank you for joining me here for my crazy magic mushroom story. That wasn't really all that crazy, but it happened. And there you go. Be well, everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday.